You got challenges that you're going to run across.
Okay, this is Tony Fleming, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Elite Psyche, the mental toughness done away with the podcast, so the mental toughness show, the really big show, the mental toughness show. And on Elite Psyche, we talk about people that are successful, and we talk about the mindset that you have to have to be in business and stay in business and be successful in business. Today we got a little bit different show. Got a couple of co-hosts with me today that I want to introduce, and we're gonna talk about a few topics today. Got about 4 topics I want to talk about at least. I'm gonna play them and some videos, and I'm gonna let Doc and Lou, converse and talk about these topics. I'm gonna jump in on some of them too. But I just feel like having a discussion today, and I like these guys that I have on. I want them to kind of talk a little bit about what they're doing right now. So I'm gonna go with Dr. Nicole first. So can you kind of share with the people what are you doing right now, and are you still doing something with a law firm?
Yes, I am. So I have shifted a little bit in my using my skill set of being able to gather history, and apparently it's very useful in what we call mitigation circumstances or mitigation specialist, where when someone in a criminal case especially has other factors that have tied in from their history, from their education, from their health, mental health especially, and that has tied in to over time lead them and affect them in a way that got them into whatever situation they're in. And these mitigating factors can then be used when wanting to decrease the charges that have been brought against someone, and also decreasing a sentence that would be given, and the guidelines, and that would be a whole long conversation by itself, but the guidelines that the prosecutors use in order to determine length of sentence then can be lowered. And then also the judge can take into consideration these factors that have affected somebody, like poverty, parents on drugs, difficult time in school, learning challenges. So that's been really, really rewarding for me. And then I'm also, rebuilding on my healthy curves and rebranding to be able to get back into the world of wellness.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, Mr. Lou, what's going on with you right now, man? What's happening?
Right now, I'm in the full court press of getting opportunities to present. So backtrack. Over the course of me building the programs and developing them so I can market them and actually sell them, I realized something. I'm meeting all these people, I'm knowing these people, but they hadn't actually heard me present my program. They had talked to me like on one-on-one and in a group discussion or whatnot. We've been at conferences, but they hadn't actually heard me speak and present. And it hit me when I was at a conference with some people from the prison system, and they were talking about this guy who they had heard speak. And they was like, oh, God, he was so wonderful. And they asked him, like, why don't you speak at the Wardens Convention? And I'm sitting there looking like, And it hit me like a lightning bolt. I said, they ain't heard me talk. That's why nobody asked me to come speak at the So I just been now, every time I can get it, I've been inviting, because I'm in three institutions. I'm going to 3 institutions with my program now, and gonna start a pilot with the juvenile. So 3 adult institutions and a juvenile institution. So I've been inviting people from the ODRC. I've been inviting the people that I need to see me speak. to come and watch me present. And that's been going well. And that just hit me. That just hit me. So that's like the main thing I'm doing with my stuff. But I'm still working with the Marshall Project, the outreach manager, going to conferences, planning engagement events in Cleveland. So yeah, so that's what I've been up to. It just hit me. It was so like I said, I'm goofy. It was so sometimes you be so bright. You miss. I said, they ain't heard me talk. I'm talking what they ain't heard me present, so they don't really know my presentation, what I do. So
right.
I actually did a presentation and got a speaking engagement, paid speaking engagement, and got a sale on some t-shirts. So,
wow.
Learning sales.
Okay.
I'm a chit chatter. I suck at sales, but I've been learning sales, learning the step-by-step progression of sales, showing the outcome versus the moving part. So I'm working on it.
Okay. Well, cool, man. Congratulations on your paid speaking engagement and your t-shirts, moving your t-shirts. I tell you, man, I forgot to say that Lou is in Cleveland. He said it. And Dr. Nicole is in Orlando, Florida, or what do you call it?
Stick with that.
Okay.
Stick with that. You're good.
Yeah, it's good. Metro Orlando. So Metro Orlando. We're going to put up at the end, how to reach you guys and what you guys are doing. We'll make sure that Terrence put that stuff up and have it for you. All right. So I'm excited about this. I want to actually put up our first video, and it's a topic that I want us to come back and discuss. I grabbed some of these from some of my favorite podcasts, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about it. But I want you guys to hear it so then we can kind of have a conversation on it. So
when I got to Bell Labs, they shared offices, and I happened to share offices with a PhD in chemical engineering. And this man had patents that were probably 30 pages long. And he'd become one of my first mentors. And on my first day at work, as we got settled into his office, he turned his chair around, he kind of looked me up and down and held this computer chip in front of me and said, "This is an operational amplifier. It's failing in our Merlin systems out there in the field. You need to figure out why it's failing so we can fix it. If you have any questions, ask me." And then he turns around. And so you see, unlike today's technically sophisticated high school students, I had no idea what an operational amplifier was, what it was supposed to do, what this one didn't do. And so, before the days of Google and Wikipedia, we had this thing called the library. And I went to the library and I pulled every book on operational amplifiers I could find. I talked to everyone in the halls who would listen and ask questions. And by the end of the summer, not only did I have an idea about why this wasn't working, but I had built a system that simulates the field conditions that causes them to fail. And then with my mentor's help, we fixed the problem. My guess is even now, I'm probably the most knowledgeable intern at Bell Labs on operational amplifiers in the history of that company. But the important thing was the challenge from my mentor was more than to teach me something about this obscure integrated circuit. It's a challenge that has reaped rich dividends for me over my entire career. It is the joy of figuring things out.
Okay, so when I saw that, first of all, he talked about the Merlin system, and this has something to just do with me. I don't know. Do y'all know what the Merlin system is?
Absolutely not.
Okay. And I think I'm 100% right on this. I didn't research it because at the end when he said Bell Labs, it made me think. So Merlin system was a phone system that AT&T had that I actually sold when I worked for AT&T. The Merlin was the most expensive system that they had. That was and if you saw that, you probably would know it because it's a black and gray like the Raiders colors, and it has the handle, and it's a different type phone system. So when you walk into a big corporation, you will see that huge phone on the front desk there for the secretary, and then you had I used to sell hundreds and hundreds of those throughout the building. So, but the Merlin was the most expensive system. We had something called a partner system. and the Merlin, and then we had I can't think of the other one now, but you had the cheaper one, which I think was called. It's funny. I think it was called Spirit. It was Spirit, or I think it was the Spirit phone system. I still remember that. Yeah. And then you had the Partner, which was a nicer system, and then you had the top of the line Merlin phone system. Mm-hmm. So when I heard that clip, it just kind of made me think about that. But the whole thing about researching and doing what it takes to win in life was big for me. So I'm gonna let y'all start off talking about that and see what did you get from that clip. Let's go with you, Lou, first. What did you get from that clip? Listening to Robert Smith. First of all, if y'all don't know, that's the billionaire Robert Smith, and that is from the podcast. I think it's called. God, I'm gonna make sure I post it because I hate using people clips without giving them credit for it. But you know, this guy that does all these, he actually puts together clips of successful people. I think this.
What's his name?
Yeah, is it Evan?
Who? Yeah,
Evan Carmichael.
Evan Carmichael. Yeah.
So
I want to give him big props for that because he's done that. He became creative with that and became very successful doing that. But when I saw that, I said we got to talk about that because, you know, when he said that the time he put into it and what he became an expert at. What was it? Solving? Not solving, but researching or something like that. What do you think about that, Lou?
First of all, I thought that was fire. Like the joy of figuring things out, because that's what life is all about. You have to figure things out. It's adversity. So I thought it was very timely. What I took from it was in this age now with AI, and because we Google and Wikipedia about to be obsolete, really. Like, because you got AI, you're gonna be able to like throw a couple sentences idea at the computer and they just writing up whole reports, grants, everything. So with that, you're gonna make a lot of things obsolete. But at the same time, I believe in the future as we move forward, like in the next 5 years, it's gonna be this void of men and women who can actually research a thing, comprehend it, understand it, master it. And we're about to be in the age of like being a specialist like never before. Like general broad information is not gonna matter. We're gonna be looking for people who actually understand things because AI and digital things and robots are gonna be doing so much for us. The only thing we just gonna be left are the specialists, which sounds crazy, but because of the technology moving forward, the old archaic way is gonna be what's valuable. It's almost like we're at a time now where customer service is unheard of. So you have to go to an elite high-end like hotel paying, you know, $500, $600 up a night to actually get that old school customer service you used to get in the 80s everywhere. That makes sense?
Yeah, really does, man.
I think that's what's about to happen now. And that's what I gathered from what he was saying is that that's what people need to be focused on, which sounds crazy. I mean, we're going to have to focus on computers and all that stuff, but being a specialist and being able to research something out and understand a thing is going to be like, it's going to be rare. It's rare now. It's going to be one of the rarest things on earth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a human being that actually understands and can master a certain field or a certain area. So that's what
how many people you think really want to go through that? You know, go through that whole.
It's going to be rare, and that's why it's going to be very well paid. It's going to be very rare. It's going to be because everybody's going to be so lazy off of AI. I can just AI. I can just do this. I can do that. But there's going to still be a small segment that's going to be high-end niche because that's most things that make a lot of money are very small. It's going to be a small niche. You're going to have companies, corporations, governments that's going to depend on people that actually understand something because we're going to raise the generation of people that understand nothing except for how to feed AI. What we got now, the average, they think they understand something because they can be aware of it by punching something into Google, but you don't understand anything.
Right.
People don't understand anything. The kids do not know technology because they can't troubleshoot that phone. Just because you can punch the buttons real fast is not knowing technology. And this is the trap. That's what I said. People that actually understand things are going to be very valuable. Those are going to be your high earners. That's going to be part of the one. Just understand a certain niche industry and being able to research and master.
You know, it kind of reminds me of when I first started talking to you and we started breaking down what is illiteracy. I mean, being illiterate or being able to read. because people can read, they can grab a book here and read the pages on the book and be finished with the book and say, I read that. But do you think they actually read it? Remember you said that you were reading stuff and you would give it back to the guy and say, I don't get it.
Right.
You know, so it seems like that's where he's saying you got to get to a point where you know this thing in and out. And you saying that a lot of people are not going to be trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? They're not.
If you can't implement the thing consistently, you don't understand it. You know, because it's about the consistency. Can you implement the idea, the ideology? Like right now, a lot of people know principles. They're aware of a lot of things. I know. But you're not implementing in your life, so you clearly don't know.
Right.
And awareness is confused with knowing something, with understanding, with comprehension, with understanding the context of a thing. Because our vocabulary is so bad, we think awareness is the beginning and the end of everything. And awareness is nothing. You're aware of a whole bunch of stuff. How much do you actually know? How many things are put out there in the jungle? Put you on the stage, like we got 10,000 people. Teach them this. What can you teach somebody? That's what we're gonna be living like. That's what our topic is.
Can you really pull it apart and put it back together? Can you start on the back end teaching and go to the front? Start on the front end, come to the back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Well, you know everything about it, the ins and outs, and that's where we're not there. People are just it's almost like they're getting the cliff. We are getting the cliff notes when we Google.
Right.
Now, I admit it. I'm a Google king. You know, I go to Google and what's the lady on the phone that you asked the question?
Siri.
Yes. Yeah, I'm good at doing that too. And I get my answer. But me actually knowing the ins and outs about it's funny, even with the Merlin system, when I was, being a salesperson, I talked to you, I used to talk about this a lot too. It was, and this, this is just random here. It was people in our office at AT&T could take that Merlin system and tap dance with it and make it. I mean, they knew everything about what that system could do. And that system was far advanced than what we, and that was late. That was mid-90s. And that system was very advanced. I didn't really know it, but I had some people in our office at AT&T, they knew that thing. I mean, they could make that Merlin system do almost anything. Almost before some of this advanced technology came out, the Merlin system was there. But here's the problem with them. They never went out and sold it.
Right.
I went out and sold it, but I didn't know it. So, but I would get them on the phone and let them break it down. I would call them at the office and I'll say, hey, I'm sitting here with a secretary and she got this question. Boom. And man, they would take that thing and, give her the answer. But see, I wasn't afraid to go out and get rejected. They was afraid to but they knew the answers. They were, pros at that equipment, and I'm thinking now from what you're saying is that the person who can be that pro is going to be the it. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that you like and subscribe and hit the all button and all that kind of stuff, because we're going to have a lot of good interviews on this podcast.
Let me keep it real. You know it's the truth. Your mind is rambling. You're hurt inside. You're tired.